Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnbay.co. Happy learning!
Random sampling is the most simplest sampling, and most of the days this is the sampling you should do ideally. Okay. What is random sampling? It is applicable when the population is small, homogeneous, and readily available. Okay. Basically, all the subsets of the frame are given an equal probability of being selection, because the idea is each element of the frame has an equal probability of being selected as a sample. And basically you can use a lottery system, some kind of random number generator. So you basically have done this already. Remember, you use random.choice to select the samples of 100, 1000 and 10,000.
Yeah.
So that was random sampling that you did. Okay. You did not try to have any bias about the system, or you just try to did the random sampling. Okay. All right. So this is simple, like this is not something actually people take much time to understand. Pros, estimates are very easy to calculate, and again, it is an equal probability system design. EPS means equal probability system, and means all the frames or all the points basically get equal probability of being selected. But if the sampling frame is pretty large, this method might become a bit impractical. And the biggest problem, actually, though, that is not even a biggest problem, because we have computers, right? So it doesn't really matter. The problem is the second one. Minority subgroup of interest in population may not be present in sufficient sample to study. Did anyone understood the second one? What did we just say here?
For non-homogeneous part, means that will be ignored.
Sorry, I did not hear you. Can you just repeat that?
I'm not sure whether I'm saying correct or not. But
Uh-huh.
for non-hom, see, for random sampling, all the analysis or inference is happening on the basis of homogeneous data.
Yes, exactly.
But if non-homogeneous kind of characteristics will be coming into that sample, then that will be ignored. Is it
Yes,
like that?
that could be one chance. Okay, yeah, that could be good answer. And
Like for example, we can say that we are studying a population, and for example, India has some minority caste, so that caste should have more number of people representing that group. So that will not be considered over here.
forget the more numbers. Sometimes even the proportionality is not maintained. Forget more numbers. Okay, proportionality is also not maintained because you are choosing randomly, right?
Yeah.
So that is the one and only major issue which I see with random sampling. Okay, otherwise random sampling, most of the days you can just get away with random sampling and it should not be a big issue. But this is the problem when you have a lot of minority sub-interest or minority groups within your data set present. You can choose to, okay, so let me give you a simple example.
Sir, sorry.
Uh-huh.
No, I was saying a good example could be, let's say we were taking an average height of the people in the world. Then if we don't have proper representation of America and India population, then it will be skewed. So that is.
It's not just that. Okay, actually I will give you. So I'm reading a book these days. It is called The Polymath. Very interesting book actually. Okay, so basically it talks about people who are brilliant, or basically it talks about people who are just not specialized in one domain. Actually they are pretty good in a lot of domains, like Leonardo da Vinci was like is a polymath of all the times. Okay, so basically what it was talking also about is that but the author very easily and immediately, like within second or third chapter, makes it very clear that even I'm doing this study of polymaths and I'm trying to explain what how polymath works and how everyone can maybe a polymath at the end of the day. He told that based on our history and our representativeness, what has happened is because most of the times history has been written by people who basically ruled or who were the victors. Okay, so basically first of all what it did is it marginalized women. So if you try to do a polymath study, if this is the Venn diagram, okay, the women might get like this much share. Okay, maybe even this is too big. Okay, women just get this much share, but there is no scientific evidence that why a women cannot be a polymath. The issue is the way our societies were always meant around, or the way our societies were built. It never allowed women to explore different domains, okay, for various n number of different reasons. So even if it in this book it looks like, and the author makes the claim, I think in second chapter very clearly about this, that even most of the polymaths that we are gonna show you are gonna be males, and they are gonna come from Anglo-European societies itself. It has no meaning. And he also said that same about African and Asian countries, that because these countries were ruled by these Europeans, even if there were polymaths, their history or their story was not reported to everyone. Okay, so first of all, try not to understand it like this. So there's the problem of this association and the causation issue, that you should not make, you should think like it as association, you should not think it like a causation, that women cannot be polymath. That would be a very wrong statement, but we just don't have enough examples. Even in the book he tries very desperately, but there are like very few examples, to be very honest. But he makes it very, very clear at that point that it is not the cause. Okay, that's the cause is something different, the way society was developed, and it still is, to be very honest, in a lot of countries, like even including India. So what the problem is, if you were to take a random sample, if you had to write a book, and if you took some prominent polymaths and some random samples to show you some diversity, did you see, even by taking some random points, I'm completely missing any women polymath who might have existed? See the problem? So let's say this is 99%. Okay, 99% of men examples are there in the world, let's say, because of systemic reasons. And this is the male. And maybe this is just 1% of females. Okay. Okay, if we were to take 20 random samples to write a book, okay, is there even a guarantee that even a single female would be picked if I do a random sampling? Exactly, Abhijit. That is the crux of the problem. That ideally it looks like, yeah, what is the problem? Why can't I just take a random sampling? It is unbiased, right? Yes, it might be unbiased if your data was unbiased. But unfortunately, our data is not unbiased. It is really the effect of whatever our society has been for last 200, 300 years. It is just reflective of that. So basically, I think Google made this chatbot, or Microsoft, I'm forgetting who, I think Google research it was, okay. So basically it led Google to kind of survey last research papers from last 250 years, okay. So basically a question was put like, who is a scientist? And Google basically, after like going through all these research papers, says, or this bot says, that a scientist is a male who does this, means does scientific research, conducts scientific experiments. Now, basically that is the fundamental issue, right? Even if you were to do a random sampling, yes, you will find that most of the scientists happen to be males. But then the machine learning algorithms or any deep learning algorithm doesn't understand the causation problem, that what might be causing it, okay? And if you just do a random sampling, it might not solve the problem. So this is the biggest concern actually, guys, that you cannot actually do random sampling in all the cases. This is clear, because I really want to stress this point, because you will run into this problem a lot, that if you do not look very carefully on your data, you might miss out on the minority subgroup. So maybe random sampling looks the best way to do things. Believe me, in some cases, it is a disaster to do a random sampling. You just can't do random sampling over there. Especially when humans are involved, be very, very careful. Okay, moving along. Then you can do a systematic sampling. It's like, how do I say? It's like taking every 10th name from a telephone directory. It's like a systematic order, but you keep choosing regularly. Okay, so I can show you. a simple process that if there are a lot of, let's say, points, so systematic sampling is really simple. Let's say you randomly start from any point, okay? And then you make a jump, okay? So you say, I will basically make a jump of 5 or 4 points, something like that. Okay. So this is what systematic sampling really is, that at regular intervals, you keep making these jumps. So K could be 5 or 5 in this case, I guess. So total number of samples is, or sample number is large N is the total number divided by K.
So, sir, a good example for this would be, let's say, my SIP, systematic investment plan. I pick up on stock price every once in a month,
Yeah,
something like that.
exactly. So systematic investment plans are like that, or any kind of regular EMIs or regular payments you make for your investment, like in NPS or stuff. There are a lot of examples of systematic sampling itself.
Okay.
So, sir, how that Kth position is being decided?
That is, the first position is that K size is chosen by you. That's your parameter. You choose what you want. So it depends on how many numbers of samples you want. Let's say you have total number of values as 10,000. And I want 200 samples. So what ideally K I should choose?
50?
Sorry?
No.
50? Yeah, you are right. Okay. The first value, the first jumping point could be anywhere, but then it has to follow the intervals of 50. Okay.
But in that case also, might be some dissimilar data can be ignored.
Sorry, what kind of data could be ignored? I did not get it. Sorry about that.
My mean to say, two individual datas are there. Suppose like that random sampling, the minorities values were ignored. So like that, if that non-homogeneous data will be there in that, and suppose we are taking in a order, then in middle of that order, that other data can be there and that can be ignored.
Yeah, so ideally, say once very, although you are correct here, I'm not saying this is wrong, but one thing that you should ideally do is you should always shuffle or randomly shuffle your data. Okay.
Then sorting, you are saying.
No, not sorting. I'm talking about shuffling, means randomly shuffle the data, first of all. So you already introduce randomness, so there is a less issue. But yeah, you are right. Basically, it has a serious disadvantage. Can anyone tell me what is the disadvantage?
Get similar data.
If
Basically,
some kind of repetitiveness is in process
yeah,
for, then
yeah,
that
it
thing
have a
will be.
periodicity or repetitiveness. Yes, you are right. Then you are in real problem. Because think about this. Let me change the color. Let's say the blue one exists here, and it also exists at the same intervals. Okay. So let's say blue one always comes at the second one. See, this blue or violet one will never get picked. Getting the gist, or like getting the idea, like what will happen? Hello.
Yes, sir. So,
Yes, clear.
or
So
if the
how?
blue one is there in the right position, then only blue will get picked, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So how would we solve this problem?
I think you
Then
said
we should bisect that state,
you
that case
shuffle them.
size.
Maybe not just bisection. You can try different case sizes. You can try
Yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe run 2-3 experiments. K as
Mhm.
45, maybe K as 35. The hope is once in a while it will start to get picked as well. Okay. Or randomly shuffle the data. Okay, but although in a lot of systematic examples, we do have an ordered list, so random shuffling is not allowed. So if random shuffling is not allowed for that reason, like a telephone directory, you cannot really randomly shuffle over there. So because telephone directory is ordered by default, means based on names, it is ordered already, right? So there is no chance of random shuffling. So just use different k values, or it means run the experiment 2-3 times, and then your biases or this kind of mistake will be basically rectified. So you will have to run the experiment with different k values. Okay. Very simple to implement. There is not much maths there. There is a very simple logic to implement this. But again, not something that is very useful, to be very honest, because still, because we have these powerful computers, we can always go ahead and choose some kind of a random sampling iterator, or like we can make some customization to random sampling, and maybe we can do much better than systematic sampling. But again, it's a one way of sampling that you should definitely know about.